Hey y'all, so today's tips and tricks video for this week's stuff, which is probability, is going to be a little bit shorter. A lot of this is just knowing the rules and practicing. So to that effect, I did link in the same slide here in the slide deck. I linked a playlist that has a bunch of probability videos that I've made over the past 5-6 years that I've been teaching AP Stat. So I encourage you to watch those. And as always, I linked a few other YouTube videos from other people and some of them are teachers, some of them are crash course videos, but there are other videos on probability that might be useful to you. So if you need help just remembering some of the rules and looking at some of those practice type problems, I encourage you to watch both mine, but also others' videos that I've linked on this page. And then as always, you can search on YouTube probability or sampling distributions or whatever, conditional probability, etc. And a lot of stuff will come up that will be useful. So I encourage you to kind of review those rules. But just as a quick tips and tricks, I put down a couple things just for you to keep in mind and be aware of. One thing is on probability questions to always show all of your work, formulas, mathematical processes, and then to label your answers. That's a big thing too. A lot of times, especially if a particular part of a question is asking you to find a couple of different things, labeling which one is which is really important. Second thing I put is to not leave answers blank. There is so much potential for partial credit on the AP Stat exam, and that comes from within a part itself. So if you kind of partially got the idea but maybe messed up on one little section of it, or they can tell you knew what you needed to do but didn't quite remember what the rules are, things like that. So not leaving answers blank gives you as much potential or possible way of getting every piece of credit that you can. That also falls under error carries forward. So like if on part B you have no idea how to find that probability, and in part C, you know you have to use the probability from part B to answer part C. So don't just leave everything blank, right? If you don't know what to do on part B, you can't even think of a clue, make up a probability, make up a number, and then use that number to answer part C so that you at least have the possibility of getting part C correct. So that's kind of my tip there, is to not leave answers blank. Always put something, even if you're not sure what exactly to do. Putting something gives you that potential of getting partial credit, and partial is better than nothing always. Third one is to have your formula chart and tables handy. I put at the beginning of a classwork video how to get access to those through the AP Stat website that we have set up. It's basically under the More tab or the More menu at the top. There's formula charts and tables. If you have a printer at home, I would suggest printing them so that you have them available to look at physically, or if you have the ones that I gave you in class still, because you hang on to your things, then definitely use those. If you don't have a printer and you don't have a physical copy, at least know where they are so that you can have them available to you on your computer. And then the fourth thing I wanted to mention, and I've talked about this in several other places in this week's videos and announcements and all that kind of stuff, but for this year's test, they have made the questions such that they will not require the use of a calculator, especially a graphing calculator. So any math that you're asked to do would be something that's fairly easy to do by hand, like on a piece of paper, just doing some basics math, or like at the very least with a 4-function calculator that most people would have access to, like on your phone. So keep that in mind as we go through the types of problems that you'll see. That doesn't mean you won't see any binomial questions. That just means they may ask you to only write the formula for the binomial probability, or they may ask you about rules or things like that. So just know that the questions that you'll receive on this year's test will not require the use of a calculator, but that may mean that you need to be more familiar with the formulas and the rules and things like that. So keep that in mind, and that's all I'm going to say for tips and tricks. I very much encourage you to watch some of the other videos that I have linked and to look up videos on your own. The more practice and teaching and reminders you can get with probability, the better chance you have of doing well on the AP exam this year. So that's it for today. Thanks guys. See you later.